What's up, guys? How y'all doing? It's Chop Boxing. We're gonna talk about some boxing right now. So, let's talk about the pound for pound list, because I feel like this is a discussion that everyone is really biased with. Like, if you work for ESPN, you're gonna say, "Oh, Tyson Fury's number one." If you work for Top Rank, you're gonna say, I don't know, Crawford is number one. If you work for Showtime or PBC, you're gonna say Errol Spence is the best. So it's just like bias bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But realistically, we gotta look at the best fighter pound for pound in each promotion. So let's say Canelo from the Zone, from Showtime, whatever. I think you could say Errol Spence. Top Rank, you could say Tyson Fury and Terrence Crawford. And who else deserves to be up there? You could put Teofimo Lopez up there because he's the undisputed champion and really young too. So you could say Teofimo Lopez. So out of all of these, the best resume goes to Canelo. He's been doing this since he was 14 years old, right off the bat. But he hasn't had a big fight since Daniel Jacobs. So you can't say Canelo's number one because of his recent fights. You could say it because of his history, you know what I'm saying? His resume. He hasn't lost since he lost to Floyd Mayweather in 2013. But if you put Canelo's number one, I understand it. I'm not against it, but I don't think he deserves to be number one at this moment right now. Definitely top five though, but I think number one has to go to Fury or Teofimo Lopez, in my honest opinion, because Errol Spence, look at Errol Spence, who he fought, Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is not in his prime. Danny Garcia is like 32 years old. His prime was probably like 2013, 2014, around that time. But Danny Garcia hasn't really been active. He hasn't been getting like big fights, and he's lost like 3 times. I don't think that was a big fight. It wasn't too impressive. It was kind of obvious that Errol Spence was gonna whoop him, and it did happen. Then you got Tyson Fury. He took a risk fighting Deontay Wilder. He's undefeated, and he fought Deontay Wilder. Almost got knocked out in the first fight. Took the rematch, and then he knocks out Deontay Wilder. Like, that's impressive, bro. Deontay Wilder was undefeated. He was the WBC champion, heavyweight champion. And then Teofimo Lopez, he took a risk fighting Lomachenko. Nobody thought he was going to beat Lomachenko, and he schools Lomachenko. He takes all his belts. He becomes a real powerhouse at 135. So it's like, those guys are taking risks. Canelo hasn't took a risk like that in years, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like that's more impressive than what Canelo has done recently. So I would have to say number one, I think you got to give it to Teofimo Lopez. Number two, give it to Canelo, whatever, because people don't really give heavyweights credit in the pound for pound standings. But 3, it's got to be Fury. 4, all right, now I got to compare Errol Spence with Terrence Crawford. Now, Terrence Crawford, to me, is the better fighter out of the two. He's more technical. He has more power. I think Errol Spence might be a little more bigger physically, but I think Terrence Crawford overall is better. He's faster, but he hasn't fought any risky fights recently. And Errol Spence, he fought Danny Garcia coming off a car accident. So just because he fought coming from an injury, I'll give it to Errol Spence. 4 and 5, I'm going to give it to Terrence Crawford. That's my pound for pound, top 5.